Welcome to Charlie's Update. Today is the 18th of April 2018. My name is Kelsey.
And I'm Lauren Devine.
And today we've got so much on for the program. We will have some news updates very soon. But yeah, how was your weekend, Lauren?
That's pretty good. I got up to a little bit of homework and everything, but, you know, the usual uni student things.
Yeah, I feel like that's all I've been doing lately on my days off is just some homework.
Yeah.
There's just so much to do. We actually did an interview last week that you'll get to see later in the program.
It's very interesting stuff.
It is very interesting, and we'll have a bit more of a talk about it after you've seen it. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely. We have a few trucks around campus today, don't we?
We do. We've got the first food truck is the paella truck.
What's paella?
Well, it's a Spanish dish. It has rice and then usually has either seafood or meat. Yeah, and I mean, I've heard it's very good. I've never had it before.
I might go check it out because I've never had paella before.
Yeah, well, it's around all day. And then we also have another American food truck this week, and it is called Those Guys Food.
Excellent.
Yeah, I saw that they do have some steaks there,
Yum.
but they didn't have the whole menu up when I walked past this morning.
We'll go check it out after the show, I reckon.
Absolutely. I hope to see everyone else there. All right, now to some news headlines. Some breaking news story now. Barbara Bush has sadly passed away. The former First Lady of the United States and wife of former President George W. Bush had been facing health issues lately, and it was revealed yesterday she would not go through any further treatment. She passed at her home in Houston, Texas, aged 92. A suspect has been arrested in Iraq in connection to a plot to bomb a plane. With his two Sydney-based brothers, the three allegedly plotted to bring a bomb disguised as a meat grinder on an Emirates flight from Sydney to Abu Dhabi, planned for July 15th. Investigations are continuing. Now to a developing story out of the US. A Southwest Airlines flight has had to make an emergency landing at a Philadelphia airport. Mid-flight, at 32,000 feet, one of the engines exploded, throwing shrapnel through a window. Passengers on the flight from New York to Dallas said the woman was half sucked out of the plane before people raced to pull her back in. She was taken to a nearby hospital in a critical condition. And there has been one confirmed fatality. We are unsure if that fatality is the same woman. The flight crew of the Boeing 737 have been praised for their care and for safely landing the aircraft. 3 people are dead after an Everton Hills house fire in Brisbane's north yesterday morning. One person has been identified as a 53-year-old male. The other 2 are assumed to be the occupants of the house, a woman in her 50s and her son in his 20s. Neighbours' reports say they could smell fuel in the area and then heard an explosion shortly before the house was engulfed. Police are urging more information from anyone in the area or anyone connected. SES just hours ago began walking the surrounding streets looking for more clues. Investigators have a new lead on the Sydney bushfire that has been burning out of control since Saturday. At 9:30am on Tuesday, Bankstown Police received a Snapchat video and passed it on to Strike Force Carpi, the team that is investigating the fire. The social media video shows 4 to 5 males laughing and joking, surrounded by flames. Words like, "Do you know how fast a fire burns?" and "National Geographic over here" can be heard. Police are appealing for them to come forward in the hope they have more information. The fire is now thankfully under control with the hard work of our firefighters. Almost 4,000 hectares in southwest Sydney have been affected. The Australian state and federal governments will offer 4.5 million free flu shots. Not everyone will qualify for a free one, but if you are considered at risk, you will. Pregnant women, people over the age of 65, and people with illnesses that could make them more unwell are just a few of the qualifying. The movement by the government intends to promote community immunity. Google's bid to set up a new headquarters in Sydney has been rejected by the New South Wales government. It is the second time in a year that the search engine giant has failed to secure a location, and there are now expectations that they will have to start looking interstate. That means we could see them in Victoria before you know it. The Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting will be kicking off today in London. Leaders from 53 Commonwealth nations will meet at Buckingham Palace. Malcolm Turnbull will talk security and cybersecurity and how they can prevent attacks. Experts have been allowed to access the site of the chemical attack in Syria. Reports say the site may have been tampered with, but the area should have been too dangerous to be near until today. 40 people were killed in the attack on the city of Duma. There are suspicions North and South Korea may be ending their 70-year-long war. Pyongyang and Seoul have technically been at war since the 1950 to 1953 Korean conflict that ended with a truce and not a peace treaty. Neighbouring states have supposedly been negotiating a new agreement that would bring an end to the military conflict between the two countries. And doctors are urging patients to stop self-diagnosing their symptoms. Dr. Google is costing taxpayers and is making our health system struggle. Doctors are ordering unnecessary tests and scans to disprove patients' claims. If you're thinking about Googling your symptoms, next time, don't. And now to Melbourne weather for the week. A top of 23 today and mostly sunny. Tomorrow and Friday climbing to 25 and 27 and sunny. Back down to 25 on Saturday and 23 for Sunday, and then 26 and 24 for Monday and Tuesday. Wow, I mean, again, it's a bit of an average week, but I mean, the story I'm finding really interesting is doctors urging patients to stop Googling.
I am very guilty of it, very guilty.
So
I
am
self-diagnose all the time. The second I get a symptom, I just type it straight in and I've got every disease in the book.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I Googled something yesterday. I had a sore leg and I was like, oh, I've got to see what it is.
And you need your leg amputated now, yeah?
Absolutely. That is what it told me. Or, I've got some random disease that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah. It's incurable and you're gone.
Yep. Yeah.
See, I feel like we should probably go to the doctors. We're not actually doctors. We don't study that degree here.
No. Well, maybe I should study to be a doctor, and
maybe.
then I can Google my own symptoms,
and then you'll know if they're true or not.
That's right. Hey, and then I can diagnose everyone else.
You can diagnose me, so I stopped diagnosing myself.
We've got a plan. Well, next up we have the story that we talked about earlier in the program. Lauren and I went and interviewed two very interesting Syrian migrants. And, I mean, these girls are incredible, but we'll let them tell their story.
Hi, I'm Maya and Sarah Ghassali. We're from Aleppo. Sarah and I came to Melbourne, Australia on a skilled migration visa in May 2012 with our family and I. When we were in Year 5, there was a bomb threat next to our school and our teachers went frantic and it was really chaotic, the scene. So we kind of knew that there was something about to happen,
things weren't going right and things like that. But there was nothing that affected us personally. It was probably just that close bomb to our school that didn't affect anyone, thank God. But that was probably the closest thing that ever happened to us. But yeah, we started to figure it out as we grew older.
And we weren't we were young, we were 10 years old, we didn't really know much about our surroundings. But when you hear things like this, whispers from your family's friends and stuff like that, you do realise you do have a bad feeling about what's going to happen. When we were speaking about it, there was no electricity in the living room, and my dad was saying, look, there's a chance we might move. And we all kind of sat in silence, just thinking, what would our lives look like in 5 10 years?
Yeah, I would always think to myself, wow, 2017, that's 5 years from now. What am I going to be doing? Am I going to be in the University of Aleppo studying science or something like that? And I seriously would not have thought that I would be here in Melbourne doing all these things. So yeah, it was very different and it unfolded very quickly for us.
We drove in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. and I remember driving up the driveway to my family friend's house, and I would see all these houses that looked like from American movies, like the Simpsons house, yeah.
Because we only lived in really big apartments.
Yeah.
So this was very different.
Yeah, I've never seen an environment
houses
like
by
this.
Themselves,
and I remember
a front yard and a backyard.
Yeah. I remember I pointed it out. I was like, Sarah, look at this. Oh my gosh. Because we went to a language school for 6 months, we had an excursion to the city one day, and I remember, we reached Richmond or Flinders.
I don't remember that at all.
I do, I remember 100%. And I was looking out the window and I was like, oh my God, it looks like New York City. That's the first thing I thought, because America once again. So when we went to the English language school, we It was different, but I think everyone else was in the same situation as us, so we kind of got along with the people there.
And I remember we were the first Syrians there. Well, we were the only Syrians there in the whole school, and that just showed me like, wow, probably the school now was like half Syrian people. But yeah, we arrived very early before anything really happened. In the city experience that we did in Year 9, we had like a little elective that we could pick to go on radio, and I like saw it on the sheet and I was like, that's sick, I'm gonna do that. And we went to SYN and we did like the Schools on Air program that they have where they get like students to just do a live show, and then it'll air like in the same week or the next week. So when I did that, I was like, that's really cool, like what people are doing here just for youth. Like I've never seen something like that before.
Yeah.
So I decided to complete my work experience there the following year.
Sarah and I had the idea of starting a podcast since we started volunteering at SYN Radio. We wanted to give a platform for refugees to share their story.
So on the last day of my work experience, I told one of the workers there, Fiona, about it, and she said that it sounds like a wonderful idea. And she said that she just sat me down, she was like, we're gonna make this happen. And then she wrote like a list of goals for me, and one of them was to produce 1 episode by the end of the year, but by the end of the year we've already done 5.
Yeah.
So it was really good. We just got it up and running, we did our training. And basically the main aim of Refugees on Air is to give a platform to all these refugees with such inspiring and successful stories, to tell their stories to everyone and to show that the media might not always show you all the different sides of a story, so we want to show that specific side. We want to change the perception that people have of refugees and migrants and asylum seekers. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that is our main goal for the podcast. A lot of people, like especially teachers as well, when I tell them that I'm from Syria, they're like, oh, like there's nothing left back, like there's it's just a war zone really. But I'm like, no, it's actually
There's still
not.
life.
Like
There's
I
still
always
hope.
tell them that that's what the media tells you. But like if you see, like my friends are celebrating all their holidays and they're going to school and doing all these things and trying to live their life as normally as they can. So definitely, it's kind of a job for me to tell people that, like, wait, actually, you're just looking at one side of the story. There's a lot of other sides. One of my teachers at primary school taught me like the biggest lesson. She sat me down, she told me like the best friend that you're going to have the whole life is going to be your twin. And it's a bit cringe, but it's true. It's very true.
Yeah.
And that really got to my head and helped me get through it. You can listen to our podcast Refugees on Air on iTunes, like podcast app. You can listen to it on Omni FM if you don't have an Apple phone. You can listen to it on the SYN site. And you can
listen to it on Spotify as well.
Yeah, that. And you can keep up with like our crazy lives on Refugees on Air SYN on Facebook, and at Refugees on Air on Twitter and on Instagram as well.
If any of the viewers know someone who is a refugee and is willing to share their story, let us know on our Facebook page, Refugees on Air, and we'll get into contact with them shortly.
We would love to interview you about your story or anybody you know. It will be a fantastic opportunity for both us and you, so hit us up.
And I mean, again, I think it's just such an incredible story that they have. Lauren, what do you think?
They're such brave girls, so brave, and they've got very bright futures. They showed us some of their packages and work they've done in their media class at school, and they're excellent. They've got quite some talent. I reckon they're going to go really far.
Yeah, I mean, watch out for the names Maya and Sarah Ghassali, because you're going to see them around. That they are incredible. I wish I could have talked to them for all day, but we didn't have as much time as we wanted. But yeah, I mean, they are incredible. But
yeah, so follow them on their social media, get to know them, because their names are going to get quite big.
Yeah, and go and find their podcast, Refugees on Air. It is on the SYN Media website as well as on Facebook. You can look up Refugees on Air and on Instagram.
Okay. Well, right now we've got a very special guest in with us at the studio, Sam Desmond. He's a stuntman that's been turning heads in the industry. So thank you, Sam, for joining us today.
Thank you.
You became a stuntman late in life. What drove you to become a stuntman?
Well, I'm still on the path, so I still got to get my hours up. But ever since I was a child, I loved jumping off of things and riding around on dirt bikes and cars. So I just been working for a while in my own business, and I decided I think it's time to follow something that I really enjoy doing.
What was your very first role in the industry?
It was just a small role, and I was a partner of a woman, and I got shot. So, yeah,
That's
that's
good.
pretty much it.
What did you have to do?
Well, I was just I had to have a bit of dialogue with someone, and then they pulled out a gun and shot me. Yeah, so.
Well, lucky you're still here, surviving a gunshot. Is there any
Exactly.
stunt that you're most impressed with yourself in completing, or your favourite thing you've done?
Probably I've done a bit of FMX, freestyle motocross. So I saw the Crusty Demons when I was a little bit younger. I'm 35 now, but yeah, about 10 years ago I saw them and I thought, wow, that's awesome. I'd never ridden a dirt bike before in my life, and then I jumped on, and just riding around wasn't enough for me. I thought I want to go over little jumps, and my dad has a bobcat business, so he started to build bigger and bigger jumps for me, and jumping over mates' heads and cars, and yeah, it was
Exciting
exciting.
stuff.
That's it.
Have you ever had a bad experience while performing a stunt? Anything gone wrong?
Not as as yet, but you know it's pretty safe, the industry, so it shouldn't happen.
What kind of precautions do you have to take when you're doing stunts?
There's a lot of training that you have to do. You got to get your hours up, and then you're under a stunt coordinator, and they make sure everything goes smoothly. So. Yeah.
Or what runs through your mind before performing a stunt, maybe before you get shot or before you jump over something crazy? Or
Well, you just clear your mind basically, and just let things roll with it. And you would have done enough training to just, you know, let go and know what you got to do and just do it.
Speaking about the training, what kind of training do you do? What's involved?
Well, there's 6 months worth of training that you have to do first. Myself, I've done 6 days worth of fight combat training on screen. And then I'm going to Queensland where they have a stunt school over there, the Stunt Academy, and that's for 2 weeks. So that should build up some hours, but then, you know, you've got quite a fair way to go after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of your 2 weeks in the Australian Stunt Academy, what do you hope to achieve in your time there?
I really want to set myself on fire. Yeah, at some point, car rolls and stepping things up like that, and high falls, jumping out of buildings, hopefully on fire.
Well, speaking of fire, I heard you used to be a firefighter. Is that true?
Yeah, that's right. Actually, here in Victoria. Yeah.
So setting yourself on fire wouldn't be the most scariest thing.
No, well, I actually did when I was firefighting. I was standing in a hot area and my pants caught on fire.
Oh, God.
And yeah, I had to put it out quickly.
During the Victorian Alpine fires in 2003, you know, what runs through your mind there if you're clearly not scared of fire?
Yeah, well, it was quite scary. 1.5 million hectares it burnt, went all the way through Canberra and New South Wales. Yeah, there was a few times where we were a bit worried. We were told to get on the floor and get the fire blanket because the fire was coming. But yeah, we had enough training. Once again, it's all about the training, you know. So we were prepared, saying our prayers.
Yeah. How many people went with you at the Alpine fires, the firefighting team?
Our crew was about 12, but we had Americans coming over, and it was quite a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you'd have to be quite a good team then, wouldn't you? You have to get to know everybody quite well.
Yeah, we were pretty friendly with each other, so yeah,
Special
living away.
situations, Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we want to congratulate you as well because we heard you made it to the semi-finals in the Action TV series, the Australian Action Star.
Yeah, that's right.
So what kind of stunts do you have to demonstrate to make it to the top 24?
Well, I just did a bit of martial arts demonstration, and because I have a background of kickboxing, Muay Thai. So I did a bit of that, and then we did a workshop with Trung Lai, and he helped us choreograph a little performance right there on the day. And then at the end of the day, we were judged on our performance with another actor, and then that set us up for the next day with Richard Norton, who we did another workshop with him, and then they judged us at the end of that. And then the successful people went through, they picked 12. There was only 24 of us left, so they picked the 12 to go to Queensland, and that should actually be on TV hopefully sometime in the future.
Yeah, we should give it a watch.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So what's in store for you for the future?
Well, after the Stunt Academy in June, either I might stay there depending on whether I get a job or not, because I need to join a stunt team basically to build my hours up.
Yep.
So either I might stay in Queensland or hopefully I'll head back here because this is where my family's based now. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
What kind of workshops do you do to get your hours up?
Well, anything I can get my hands on. Fight choreography with swords, with weapons. Yeah, it's just
we stepped into the fencing workshop the other day, and that was quite interesting.
Yeah,
How long have you been doing that for?
That was just a 6-day course. I've never done it before. So yeah, I was really, really happy with that. That's Fight the Good Fight with Lyndall Grant.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. Yeah, a lot more than I thought. So.
What other workshops would you do? So besides fencing, any other specific types?
Probably just anything to do with fighting, because I know that there's a lot of that in the industry. There is some car workshops that you can do as well, stunt car. And yeah, just there's also the Stunt Academy in Queensland has more things to do after the 2 weeks, so you can just progress up and up, and then they have one in California as well.
So are you going to head over to California maybe afterwards?
Possibly, yeah. I've been there before, so I like it over there.
Are they different to the Australian Academy?
It's run by the same people,
Yep.
so but it's a little bit more advanced, more like horses and other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where would you go to set yourself on fire?
To Queensland.
Yep.
Yep.
So they'd have a training program there?
They do, yeah. That's in the first 2 weeks, so yeah.
That's a very intense first 2 weeks.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, a
Definitely.
bit of a strange initiation.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's it.
Anyway, so we'd like to thank you so much for talking to us today.
My pleasure.
Where can everyone go to start following your story and see where you can end up?
They can look me up on Facebook, Sam Desmond. And I do have Instagram under Speedy Demon, I think. And yeah, that's pretty much me at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I recommend everyone go and have a look at that and keep an eye on him, because I reckon there's big things to come from you.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Sam. I heard you have a bit of a movie review for us today.
Yeah, last week I saw A Quiet Place.
Oh, yeah?
And that was... It was scary. It wasn't the cinema wasn't a very quiet place. There's a few people screaming, and yeah. Now for Sean's reviews, it was a sci-fi horror film where it was directed by John Krasinski, who also plays a role in the US adaptation or mutilation, whichever side of the fence you are on, of The Office. Anyway, he was the director, and he also played a supporting role. And the film itself, it was a masterclass of camera work and audio for a horror film. It was the sound was just amazing for a film not about not making sound. It was great, and it was really suspenseful. I felt like I was watching the Batman trilogy again. And yeah, I think I noticed the sound because it was a film based around making no sound. But yeah, to finish up with the review, I would give it 8 out of 10 stars, and that IMDb have paralleled that with 8.1 out of 10 stars.
Wow. That's something else. I think we might have a trailer ready for it.
Yeah, let's give it a look. If it's available.
That's all right. We've got some technical difficulties.
Right.
We've got some other entertainment news, though. So Coachella was over the weekend. That's very exciting. Fans were treated to an incredible 2 hours of Beyonce. And she surprised everyone by bringing up the 2 members of Destiny's Child alongside with her, Kelly Rowland and Michelle Williams, up on stage for a bit of a reunion. That's quite exciting. There hasn't been a reunion in a long while, so that was something else. And speaking of festivals, we've got the Splendor in the Grass tickets coming out tomorrow.
And the pre-sale was this morning at 9 o'clock,
my gosh.
and they sold out. All the pre-sale tickets sold out in 2 minutes. So I wasn't lucky enough to score a ticket, were you?
No, neither was I. But we've got tomorrow, so we've got to get on it.
Definitely.
Because it's going to sell out quite quickly, and you don't really want to miss out because that lineup is legendary.
It is.
In other news, we've got, well, it's been 12 years since Steve Irwin has passed away, sadly, but he's finally getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
It's good to hear. Good to
So-
see an Aussie out there.
Yeah, we get another star, and he's so famous, and it's about time. It's about time. So that would be unveiled on April 26th in Los Angeles. So everyone keep an eye on that. And also, there was a Harry Potter reunion this weekend with Emma Watson taking a picture with her co-stars. Tom Fallon and Matthew Lewis, who played Neville and Draco. The pigeon was captured Hogwarts alumni, and which made fans very excited.
Yeah, it's definitely not as good as La Trobe alumni, but I guess Hogwarts is all right.
It is quite exciting, though.
Mm.
It's a very good picture. It's very exciting for us little Harry Potter fans. I heard you went to the Slow Fish Festival this weekend.
I did go to the Slow Fish Festival. It was in Spotswood RSL, or Spotty RSL. And yeah, when we were there, we learned about sustainability in fishing and all about how to cook with different fish. And the fish on show was sardines, so we got to eat a lot of sardines, all that we could dream of. So let's see how it went. Our oceans have been under many environmental changes, such as pollution and global warming. Our fisheries have been damaged by illegal and incorrect fishing methods. Today's inaugural Slow Fish Festival is all about finding ways to improve these issues. We're at Spotswood on Mary Street, where Slow Food Melbourne are hosting a range of activities for seafood lovers and supporters of our oceans.
Both divers, and so we experienced the change in the bay when they stopped the scallop dredging.
Yeah.
And so it's really healthy. So we wonder how much the banning of the commercial fishes, when they're being so limited already, is a bit political, catering to the amateur fishers being a bit, the hobby fishermen being a bit greedy.
The festival had many guest speakers, including third-generation fishers Phil and Kat McAdam, alongside Chef Peter Gilpie and more. They discussed the government restrictions on netting licences and its impact on their fishing industry.
Commercial fishing, commercial netting in Port Phillip Bay was a policy, banning it was a policy decision by the Labor government and also by the Coalition. And in 2016, netting was shut down and 33 fishing families lost their livelihoods, leaving only 10.
Never done anything else. Two daughters work on the boat now, and it's a family business, always has been, and we'll stick out as long as we can.
We've lost 600 tonnes of sustainably caught fish for Melbourne seafood lovers.
How much local seafood we actually eat. How much you actually buy when you go to a fishing go. Because the percentage used to be over 70%, and I think now they've shut down commercial fishing, it's over 80%. But you know what, get behind your local fisheries, get behind local produce, full stop.
The stalls featured around the festival made use of the fresh sardines from Phil McAdam and his fishing crew.
You can smell the fish in the air and it's good, yeah. People are getting into it. We're just here set up today to serve beers and hang out and get involved with the seafood.
Normally involved with the Melbourne farmers market, using the local fish. We are cooking 2 fish meal, which is okonomiyaki, which is Japanese traditional pancake using squid. And this is a sardine, which is sardine number, which is vinegar soy marinated sardine, a bit of rice. But a very simple dish, but I think people like it.
Nice and raining, it's representing the seafood. I got with the slow food, slow food vibe in Melbourne, because they really produce from real producer, they're not reseller or anything like this. So that's really what I like, because everything in my stall is all handmade. And I just use local product as much as I can, except for the chocolate, I use the French chocolate. But otherwise, all the rest will be a local product. For the special occasion, I make some little fish sliders, so flathead and gummy shark, made out of, little brioche bun.
Activities were designed for fish lovers of all ages.
Well, I would like to taste the French bread.
We also were able to watch a celebrity chef demonstration featuring author and chef at Melbourne's Pope Joan restaurant, Matt Wilkinson, as we saw his interpretation of the fresh sardines.
My thing about food is trying to make it as delicious as possible, producer focused, very vegetable focused, which is really good for today, being seafood and fish. Growing up in England, sardines was something we had a lot. At Pope Joan, we generally do a English style, British style sardine dish. At the moment we've got this dish on where it's more towards Sicily, or Italian. It's a Parmesan custard, some grilled bread, a dressing made from green olives, peas, fennel, some like broccoli and fennel like gremolata, so we like mix the two together.
The overall message from the festival is one focused on sustainability and the future. They wanted the strongest voices, the consumers, to force change and demand local produce from the fishmongers.
It's a very important issue, this whole safe fishing kind of thing, because we've only got one sardine fisherman left, which was Phil, who we just heard from, and he's trying to keep his family tradition alive, and they're trying to take it away with him with this package idea. But on a lighter note, what did you end up eating at the festival?
We ended up eating a lot of sardines, and I know you and I are a bit sceptical going in. We're not the biggest fan of sardines, but they were just delicious.
They were cooked really well.
They did, and it's not your mum and pop sardines where you get it in a little tin. You have to pour out all the juice. It was real sardines that literally just got pulled up from the ocean and then were cooked. And I myself got to try a bit of a Japanese spin on sardines. And it was sardines with rice and cabbage and some sauce. I don't know what it was, but it was delicious. And I was also lucky enough to steal the last blueberry pie from you, actually. So
yep. I'm not too happy about that, but I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a successful day for me. And also remember, during the show, you can always tweet at us at CharliesUpdate_ or with the hashtag CharliesUpdate.
Anyway, thank you, Sean. Now we're going to go on to sport. Hi, guys. How are you?
Hey, we are good.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. What do you got in for us today?
We're going to be talking basketball, football, and we'll start with basketball.
We'll start with basketball. Finally back. It's been
the playoffs.
Felt like it's been ages.
They're ready. Yeah. Oh, by the way, before we start, how rude of me. How were the Commonwealth Games? We sent you.
Oh, thank you very much. That's what I was waiting for. You haven't asked me all week. No, they were great. Didn't expect them to be that good, but it was a treat. Shout out to Charlie's Update for sending me over. It was lovely.
As good as the Olympics.
Almost. Didn't expect Australia to take over the way they did.
It.
Yeah, but they did real well. Jamaica and Kenya and most of the African countries took over in the racing and everything. But
I watched a bit of the track events. I like the track events.
Yeah, that's what I was into too.
All right, let's get into
the real stuff.
Yeah, the NBA.
NBA, yeah.
Don't disrespect the Commonwealth Games like that.
My apologies. No, love the Commonwealth Games.
Anyway, the playoffs started this week. Have any rookies stepped up so far?
In the playoffs, surprisingly, the rookies were the story of the first couple of days in the playoffs. I just want to start off with Donovan Mitchell. He's been overlooked because over the whole season with Ben Simmons taking over, he's kind of a rookie, second-year rookie is what they like to call him. But he's just taken over. He's putting up numbers like LeBron did when he was a rookie. So people like to overlook Donovan Mitchell, but he just showed out in the first game. Unfortunately, couldn't get the win. He's leading a very young team. Young himself, he's just 20 years old and leading a team in the playoffs already. He was able to score 27 points and leave his team in the game against a very capable Oklahoma City team with 3 veterans. Eventually. Yeah, he came. Yeah. That's live TV. But, so Donovan Mitchell definitely caught my eye. The whole season, he just showed up. Pick 11. He's a big steal, yeah. So I'm hoping to see him lead his team to at least a couple wins in this series. I don't think he'll be able to take out Westbrook and the Thunder, but he was real good to watch, and in the years to come, he's gonna, because especially with last year's playoffs, the Warriors just steamrolled over every team. They had 3 sweeps and one series that went to 5, which was their longest series. So it's good to see this year a lot of teams competing, and you get to see more of that. You want more competitive basketball coming back. Well. Yeah. So that's
our boy Ben Simmons, the Aussie.
Last
week, Sean said MVP. Rookie of the year.
Yeah.
Flat out.
People are trying to make a story with it, trying to put Donovan Mitchell in there, but it's you can't doubt that Donovan.
How's he been
Ben
so
Simmons,
far in the playoffs?
Probably one of the best rookies of all time, Ben Simmons.
Really? Wow. That
good over the season. And then the first game of the playoffs came. No stage fight or nothing. He just came out and just absolutely took over against the Miami Heat team led by Dwayne Wade, who's won 3 championships, who you can't deny is one of the greatest playoff ballers of all time. So he came and showed out. It was fun to watch. He dropped over 30 points, almost got a triple-double in his first playoff game, which you never see that happening. He led his team to the victory without their starting center, Joel Embiid. So, Ben Simmons just absolutely freakish. You got Jason Tatum over in the... Not Channing Tatum, that's Jason Tatum over in the Celtics.
Got excited.
That's more entertainment. But he led his team to a victory against Milwaukee with Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward out. So you just got these rookies taking over, and the future of the league looks bloody damn good. So it's exciting stuff.
And you let some new language up in the Gold Coast. Any players other than the rookies? Some of the players that we expect like like the superstars of the league? Any of them really live up to their billing so far?
Yeah. Well, obviously you get the Kevin Durant, LeBron James showing up, even though the Cavs lost their first game. But the biggest surprise, well, superstar, not really a surprise. He gave himself a nickname, Playoff P. Paul George came and dropped 37 points. A lot of people had a laugh at that nickname. But yeah, he was superb.
Did he make that up himself?
He didn't make that up himself. He told everyone to call him Playoff
Quite
P.
laughable.
So no more Paul George's Playoff P from now on. Dropped 37 points, 8 3-pointers. He was great. He was able to get over Donovan Mitchell and the Jazz. So unfortunate to see for a Donovan Mitchell fan, but he was superb, and I think he's going to be able to take the Thunder real far with Anthony and Westbrook. So
yeah, and just finally, my boys, the Celtics, lost Kyrie before the playoffs. He's out for the majority or all.
He's
of the
out the whole playoffs.
Yeah,
they
all
lost
the
Gordon
playoffs.
Hayward at the start of the year, so they're without their two.
How are they doing without him?
The first game, I wish we had some footage of this. It was probably the craziest
I was watching
last
that
minute. Yeah, there
earlier.
was a shot, full court, half court heave with 0.5 seconds to go. Sent the game to overtime, but the Celtics, a very young team, were able to steal the win. So they were led out 1-0, and today morning they were able to take their second win. So it looks like they'll take this series. I know they'll be able to go far without Kyrie, but they're still showing some good signs. And next year when Kyrie comes back, they got a good future ahead of them. But other than the Celtics, I think the Warriors are still
win the whole thing.
Yeah, favourites by a mile. The Rockets are still doing well,
Yeah,
but I think
it's enough from you, man. It's enough. Don't have to diss out
that's
my
it. I
team
just
like
needed to bring the Warriors in, but yeah, it's enough. NBA. Let's move on to the Champions League.
Yeah.
NBA is not the only entertaining thing happening right now.
Yeah, the Champions League. It actually happened. This actually went down last Thursday. We were last on air last Wednesday.
Yeah, I was able to follow from Gold Coast, and something happened with Real Madrid and Juventus. Some controversy.
Yeah, Buffon absolutely lost his bearings. As Juventus miraculously came back from 3-0 down in the first leg. So the Champions League, the way it works is there are two matches you play home and away. And the score carries over from the first game. So the score at this point was 3-3 on aggregate, and they gave away a penalty just seconds before the game was due to go to extra time, as you can see in the footage here. And Buffon was absolutely furious, got in the face of the referee, made physical contact, which you just cannot do, and he was fuming when he received the red card. As you can see, received his marching orders. And the most amusing part is in the press he's come out and said that the referee Michael Oliver has a rubbish bin for a heart. He said that he didn't play the occasion, which obviously the referee isn't meant to do, and he's now started copying flack in his own homeland in.
You think he'd have saved that penalty?
In Italia, he was sent off, and then the backup keeper didn't save it. Ronaldo scored and sent Real Madrid through. The Italian press are now saying, you've got to pipe it down a little bit. The referee's not expected to play the occasion. But for Real Madrid fans, absolute scenes, ridiculous stuff. And Buffon, quite ironically, he got Zinedine Zidane sent off in his last ever match, playing for France in the 2006 World Cup final. And now Zidane, as Real Madrid manager, got to watch Buffon get sent off. Funnily enough, Buffon actually said in an interview last year, when asked about how he's going to retire, he said, "I'm not sure. I might just go out headbutting someone like Zidane." Not quite a headbutt, but
he got sent off.
But he did get sent off, just like his good friend and foe Zinedine Zidane. All right, I want to talk about the Premier League. I do want to talk about the Premier League.
Yeah, I know Manchester United have been. I know you'd like to see them win, but they're kind of choking now, coming to the end of the season.
I'm gonna talk about this as objectively as I can. Man United went down 1-0 to West Brom on Monday night, Monday morning, and it was absolutely shattering for me when West Brom scored. Bottom of the table, West Brom haven't won a game, I think, since January, and that was their first win since August. So they've won one game since August before this. 4 games all season in total, and they've now beaten us. It was shattering, but for me, it really paints a picture of the whole Premier League as a whole. I think this season, this league has been absolutely shocking. Man City have run away with it based on their own merits, and also based on every other team being absolutely shocking. If you take a look at the Premier League table, Man United in second are 16 points behind City. So that's 5 wins plus a draw behind Man City.
That's a dominant season.
You go down the table. Liverpool have had a decent season by their own expectations. Tottenham playing at a foreign ground at Wembley while their stadium gets new stadium gets built. So that's an alright season for them, finishing 4th. But then you take a look at Chelsea, Arsenal. Chelsea, absolutely shocking title defense, sitting in 5th. What are they? 27 points off the top of the table. Absolutely ridiculous. Kudos to Burnley in 7th, playing on a shoestring budget, and fighting, trying to overtake Arsenal now, who are sitting in 6th. What can you say about Arsenal? Absolutely dismal side.
Well, not 4th at least.
Hey,
they're not 4th.
They're not 4th as the stereotype goes, but 6th is worse.
Yeah.
The fact that Everton are 9th and that there are 11 worse teams than Everton, just tells you the story. Sam Allardyce has absolutely destroyed Everton's their name, their style of play. He's quite possibly the most dour man in football. He is up himself. He's obnoxious. He calls himself Sam Allardyce because he believes if his name was Sam Allardyce, he'd have more respect. And people would give him big jobs at top clubs. And now we got the job at Everton, which is quite a big club, and he's completely put their name through the mud. He should be ashamed of himself. You look at sides like Southampton, Stoke City, and West Brom down the bottom of the table. It's hard for me to talk about West Brom after they've just beaten Man United, but absolutely shocking season. 4 wins all season, and yeah, it's been dismal. To think that Arsenal are 6th, Arsenal have not won a game away from home in 2018. Since the turn of the year, they've not. Sorry, let me correct myself. They've not won a point at home.
Okay. How many games would that be?
A point or a win? Let's just go with a win to be safe. They've definitely not won at home since the turn of the year, and they're the only professional football team in England to have done that.
Yeah.
So that's 4 divisions, and also one of the non-professional divisions. So 5 divisions. The Arsenal is the only team to have not won a game away from home all year, and
so Wenger out,
and Arsene Wenger will still stay for another year as well.
So you're Wenger out, right?
He'll stay.
Yeah.
He has way too much leeway at that club. He'll stay. They say that they're quite slowly phasing him out, but it's ridiculous that he's been there too long. I actually heard on the BBC radio program called 606, a fan came in and said that people should just be patient with Wenger, and one of the presenters quite cheekily asked, you don't think he's been given enough time? He's been there since '96, so he's been given quite a lot of time. But he's not.
And it's been a few years now that the Wenger out.
He's past it.
Yeah. So.
Look, I'm not all for advocating managers. Managers losing their jobs. It is their livelihood. But when you're wasting so many people's money, Arsenal season tickets are amongst the most expensive in the whole country, and they're obviously not one of the best teams. So
yeah, well, I understand. How much time do you give a manager though? Because I'm not big on the football, but the AFL now, we've seen Carlton go 4 straight losses just to, and Brendan Bolton. Obviously they're not going to start talking about Bolton out for a while now. But how much time do you want to give a manager before they start coming up?
You bring up the AFL. It's kind of like the equivalent of Nathan Buckley at Collingwood. Each season he's really below expectations, performing really below expectations, and then they have a quite positive end to the season, and then he gets his contract renewed. It's not quite to the same extent, but the similarities are very clear to see. Nathan Buckley, a legend at Collingwood, Arsene Wenger, a legend at Arsenal, and both are hanging on to their jobs based on their past merits and not on their present achievements. So there
comes a point where you just got to say
it's sad to see for Arsenal fans. It used to be funny, now it's just sad.
Yeah. Well, as a Man U supporter, I'm sure you've been loving it.
Not really. Not really. Not anymore.
Well, look at it like this: if Sir Alex Ferguson was still there, and Man U were struggling, would you just like to see him go, or would you keep on giving him chances?
No, he'd probably go. But Sir Alex Ferguson is a very different kind of man. A lot's been spoken of that. Sir Alex Ferguson had hobbies outside of football. He had hobbies like golf. I think he likes to go to the horses as well. Whereas Arsene Wenger, according to all reports, I don't know him from Adam, but according to all reports, he doesn't really have anything outside of football. He's got his family, but other than that, doesn't really have any hobbies, and he's kind of got this fear of retiring and having nothing to do with his life. He's 68, 69, so he's just about just about retirement age. He
He can't find anything else to do.
Hey?
He can't find anything else to do. If I was 70 with that much money,
apparently, he's probably not a fan of the lawn ball, so
yeah,
So
he'd rather just stay managing weekly.
yeah. So he's really just hanging on to his job to hang on to his livelihood and hang on to a hobby. I guess it's just a hobby for him.
If Arsenal would offer me a job every year, I wouldn't, even though I'm not any good at it.
Yeah, look,
I'd take it.
Look, it's up to the board to fire him. He's not gonna
Yeah, he
step
won't
down.
quit. Yeah. Fair enough.
All right, we'll throw it back to you guys.
Oh, no, I
Sorry,
think
pardon
you've
me.
got a package for us, don't you? A multicultural.
We do have a follow-on
Do you
from.
want to explain that to us?
Yeah, so last week we spoke about Youth Activating Youth, an organisation that specialises in helping young people from multicultural backgrounds, from immigrant backgrounds, and getting them off the streets through events and workshops and stuff like that. And last week they had an event, and we went to that during the week, and here it is now.
Last week, Bilal introduced us to Youth Activating Youth, a non-profit organisation that aims to combat youth crime through activities and events. This week, I decided to delve deeper into the story by attending their latest initiative, which was a soccer tournament held at the Diribin YMCA, located only 5 minutes from Trobe University. While interviewing the director, Ahmed Hassan, along with volunteers and participants, I came across people from a number of different ethnic backgrounds, with even the eliminated teams sticking around to see the grand final. The longer I spent there, the more it became clear that Youth Activating Youth's vision of taking kids off the street and giving them avenues for a better future is well on its way to being fulfilled. This has been Sahil Abdo reporting for Charlie's Update.
All right, we've got some very special guests in with us today.
Yeah, so we have Tim and Kian from Latrobe's fencing team, which, I mean, I've always been so interested to find out what fencing is. It seems so scary. So, yeah, guys, what's fencing about?
Okay, so fencing is a sport with swords, obviously. It is, fun fact, one of the few sports that's been in the modern Olympics since the first Olympics. So out of the 9 sports, fencing has been there since the start. Yeah. In terms of where it came from, sport fencing obviously comes from sword fighting. So let's say a couple hundred years ago, people would duel, right? Someone would go up to you and they'd say, "You hurt me, you hurt my feelings." And then, you hit them in the face with your glove and you say, "We're going to be dueling now." They could duel in a lot of ways. There were pistol duels, but obviously we're talking about fencing. So, for example, there's this movie by Stanley Kubrick called Barry Lyndon. And in the movie, there's this character who kind of goes around and he's trying to trick people and get their money. So at one point, he starts beating a nobleman in a card game because he's cheating. And the nobleman accumulates a lot of debt. And then the nobleman says, "I want to challenge you to a duel, right? Because I'm a nobleman, I can't be paying all this debt." And that gives you kind of an idea of what fencing was about. It's about not sport as we see it today, but as something to defend your honor and to get, the word they used was satisfaction from their opponents. Yeah.
Wow, yeah, I mean, it goes back a really long time then. So what kind of competitions do you do? Is there local comps? And, I mean, I'm sure there's national competition. So, what's out there?
Yeah. Do you want to go for that?
So I'm an exchange student here, so there's lots of international competitions out there, but there's also lots of local competitions here. I think there's one coming up soon. So, yeah, there's a lot of chances for you to try it out and to actually play.
Are you playing, you fencing in the competition coming up soon?
Yeah, so in Victoria, there are 3 levels of competition. There's novice, B grade, and open. So novice are for people who have been fencing up to 2 years. B grade are for people kind of in the middle level, and the opens are, you get international fencers who go there. So the upcoming competition is a B grade, and a lot of the people from the fencing club at Latrobe will be competing in that competition. Yeah.
What kind of training do you need to do fencing?
You've been doing it longer than me. So maybe you should.
So usually there's a lot of footwork exercises where we really get the stance and the right posture when you're playing. And there's also the open fencing training where you actually get to apply what you've learned in your lessons and in the footwork to actually be able to do it. And apart from that, you also need to work on your strength. So back home, we do a lot of weights training so that you have your endurance built up because it's a really tiring game when you're on the piste for such a long time.
Oh, speaking of tiring, the equipment you use is quite heavy. Do you want to explain to us like the outfit and the sword and everything you've got to use?
Okay, so the club here primarily plays épée, and what we use is we have a jacket, breeches, and a plastron under, and we use this kind of blade. That's
Yeah, it's all good.
so yeah, it's the épée, and in the épée you hit with a thrusting motion, and you can hit anywhere on your body. So that's why you're wearing a mask too and a glove. So yeah.
Cool. How did you both get into fencing?
Well, I'm kind of walked through the orientation week, and you kind of see fencing. I just went, hey, this looks pretty interesting. The club was really friendly when I joined, so I've been at the fencing club now 2 years, and I've just enjoyed it ever since.
I actually watched the movie The Parent Trap.
Yes.
And there's that one scene where they started fencing, and I've always wanted to fence ever since I saw that movie, but I only got into fencing when I got to university, and it seemed like an interesting sport that not everyone does, so I thought it would be cool to learn it, and here I am 3 years later still playing.
I really want to go back to the sword. So I noticed it's not actually sharp at the ends. You know.
No, or else you get really hurt. And
That's
it wouldn't
right,
be
yeah.
a sport. No, so as you can see, there's a button at the end of the weapon. So the weapon we do at the club is épée, and the reason it has a button is because what we do with this weapon is at the end of this button is connected to a wire, which is connected to a socket at the back. And when you press the button, it's connected to the scoring board. So if you hit someone, you get a point. And something else that's important about these weapons as well is that they're really flexible and bend. So when you hit someone, all the energy doesn't just transfer through you, but it transfers into the bend in the blade. And fencing, because of all the advances in the technology in the weapons and in the protective gear, is actually one of the most safest sports in the world, despite what you might think it is.
Yeah, I mean, I find that really surprising that
So
it's one
do
of the safest sports, because when you watch it, you're thinking...
It's a sword.
Yeah. So how do you actually win a game?
So in competitions, in individual competitions, you start off in a group stage. We call them pools. So you fence everyone in your group to 5 points, and you have 3 minutes to score 5 points. After that, you're ranked according to how well you did in the pools. And after the pools is the direct elimination round. So in the direct elimination round, you fence off to 15 points. And if you lose, you're out. You're just knocked out of the competition.
Yeah, so with the points, gaining those points, is that by, contacting the sword against the other person? Is that how you gain those points?
Yeah, absolutely, because of the button at the end. However, there are other weapons in fencing. So K.N. does a weapon called foil. Maybe you want to explain.
So in épée, you can hit anywhere on the body, and even if you hit at the same time, you both get a point. But in foil and in saber, we have this thing called right of way. So there are only certain portions of your body that you can hit. So in foil, it's just the torso. And when they hit you, the person who gets the point has to be on the offense. So to get the offense, it could be that you're attacking first, or you deflect their blade, or if they miss and you hit again, you get the point.
Right. I mean, it's so much more complex than I had imagined. There's a few different ways to do it. So, I mean, you guys explained how you guys got into it, but how can other people get into it?
So at La Trobe, we have a fencing club. And the La Trobe Fencing Club is actually one of the most successful university fencing clubs in Victoria in terms of producing novice players and allowing them to grow into the sport. So to join us, we train on Tuesdays at 7 and 10. Our coach, Peter Lewinberg, is the national assistant coach. And on Fridays, we train 6 to 10 p.m. in the sports centre as well.
Okay, so where can we find you guys on social media so we can just keep updated with your successes and everything?
So we have a Facebook group. I think it's called the Trobe Fencing Club, and you can get information there, and the link to our memberships are also there.
Excellent.
Yeah, so interesting. I mean, I said in the first week that I was interested in water polo, but I think fencing's overtaken it.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it seems so dangerous, and if everyone thinks that, I'm, dangerous, and I could maybe be a stunt person like Sam earlier in the program. I mean, maybe I should take up fencing now.
I reckon maybe you could join the team.
Yeah. Can
Absolutely.
I join the team, guys?
You're more than welcome.
Oh, great.
I can already see you've got talent.
Oh, we'll see, yeah.
That's a big call already.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you guys so much for coming in and talk to us. I reckon everyone should jump on the Facebook page and have a look, and hopefully you guys can get some new members.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
No worries. But next week, since we're covering La Trobe sports clubs and societies in general, next week we do have the ski team coming in, also known as
Excellent.
LUST, La Trobe University Ski Team. I'm so excited to see what they've got too, because I've always wanted to go to the snow and I've never been. So
I'm a keen snowboarder, but it's going to be really interesting to see the other side skiing.
yeah, well, maybe they can recruit you.
Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be a good skier though. It doesn't seem like my thing. It's too coordinated.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that when you land on snow, it seems soft, but it's actually like
Really
concrete.
not. Bruising is a big thing.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll hear all about it next week when the
Be
ski team comes in.
We might have other things, really important things coming up next show as well. We've got our student ambassador, Henry and Dave, I think, coming in as well.
So Harry and Dave from the student ambassador team are coming in. I know them both because I myself am a student ambassador, but we will explain all about the program next week when we come to air on Wednesdays at 12.
But it's a special time next week, Monday.
Oh,
'cause
yes, of
Anzac
course.
Day.
Thank you for correcting me
It's
on
all
that
good.
one. So we are actually having a show on Monday at 11 o'clock next week due to Anzac Day. So do not tune in on Wednesday. It will be Monday.
Monday at 11?
I believe, yeah, 11. But if you check our Twitter, everyone should go and check out our Twitter at Charlie's Update. And we also have the hashtag Charlie's Update. Go and have a look on there. We'll keep everyone updated. And we now have tweets coming up on the screen, as you can see. So if you want to get on the show, you can actually tweet and we'll put you up on there.
Anyway, we've got a few quick little things just to update everyone on news.
Yeah, so like I said earlier in the news updates, the plane from the US, Southwest Airlines, one of the windows broke and a lady was pulled out of the plane. There is still no confirmation on whether she is the fatality. She was taken to hospital in a critical condition, and we will bring you that update maybe next week on the Monday.
Yeah, definitely. We got some... Next week, we're going to have new movie reviews.
Yes,
so
some
it's
new
very
movie
exciting.
reviews.
Might go see one tomorrow and give Sean a little bit of a heads up. But I'm pretty sure Sean's going to go have a look at some things, so that'll be very exciting.
Yeah, there's so many good movies coming out at the moment.
Oh, there is. I'm really looking forward to seeing... what's it called? Blockers? No, we saw Blockers last week. That was good. Yeah.
Yeah, I really want to see A Quiet Place. You covered it this show, and now I really want to see
good.
it.
Really good. One of my favourite movies by far.
Yeah.
Excellent. It's excellent. Anyway.
All right. Well, I mean, I think everyone should be tuning in next week on Monday. I do want to correct that one again. On Monday, everyone tune in. And yeah, I mean, we'll see.
And I feel like the week after we're going to do a very special Anzac edition.
Yes, of course, Anzac Day.
And yeah, so we'll do that for the week after, and it'll be good.
Yeah. And I think we're in the process of finding a veteran to come in, so they're going to have the best knowledge of Anzac Day and the traditions around that one.
It'll be a good insight.
We'll all be going to some dawn services around Melbourne.
Anyway, thanks guys. This has been Charlie's Update.
See you next week.